jar, nigga. Shop with me, I supply pressure. Bitch, I'm in it like Curt Hennig. Try to test, that's when I flex it. Got my foot on your neck, nigga. You know I apply pressure. I'ma get my respect. Cause if not, I apply pressure. Got the gas in the jar, nigga. Shop with me, I supply pressure. Bitch, I'm in it like Curt Hennig. Try to test, that's when I flex it.
Hey, Curt Hennig fans. Hello, welcome to another episode of Curt Hennig Was the Best. Changed my mind. I am your host, Steph. Today on our Perfect Podcast, we're going to watch along to Curt's match with Lex Luger. This would be February 98. It was a great match. I think that, Luger seemed a little distracted because this is right after Super Brawl. So right after Super Brawl, when they turned Scott Steiner, unfortunately, Luger almost takes it personally and calls Luger out, Luger calls Scott Steiner out, but Curt keeps saying, you're fighting me, you're wrestling me, not him, me. So concentrate on me, right? Well, before we start, if you could please give to the show, my links are in the description field for PayPal and also for Cashapp. Again, any little donation helps. So if you could please just check my links out and do that. Also, if you could please follow me on Rumble and YouTube. Right now, I have about 33 subscribers on Rumble and I have about 88,000 on YouTube. So maybe just follow me on Rumble if you can. So if you can hop over to Rumble, my links will be in the description field if you want to follow me there. Also, you can follow me on Locals, but I'm not really, nothing's really happening with it. So if you would like to give $2, you can. Also, I'd like to give a big thank you to Charlie Brown Politics. Unfortunately, he is not a contributor anymore on Patreon because I just wanted to get rid of Patreon altogether because they were asking for things that they shouldn't have been asking for, in my opinion. But so we're gonna do 4 more promos. Of course, this is all in 92 and 93, more like 93. But we're gonna start off with Mr. Perfect and Bret Hart. So in around March of 1993, we will actually watch 4 promos that happen. Of course, these promos, the one with Bret and Mr. Perfect, were actually because of house shows. So they were doing promos for house shows against Luger and Razor Ramon. So we're actually going to watch those and then we'll go over to our main event. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen because we're going to get ready for this. Okay, I hope everybody can see that. I'm going to turn it up so you can hear it. I really like these promos. I think these promos were pretty awesome. It's just that I think, like I said, they were for house shows. So it's not like you could really, they're not really that long. They're not even a minute, I think. The other one that I have is a minute. But so here we go. And then we're going to talk about it. So this is the first one with Curt and Bret for a house show. So it says 3/21, 1993. So like I said, we will go over those matches that we have. That I have that I took off of YouTube as soon as possible. Also, I know it was mentioned that I mentioned on one of my shows that Curt had his pants pulled down, and it was a rib, of course, on him. Had his pants pulled down. They were doing a celebrity softball game, and I don't know if I have that off of YouTube. I probably should take it off. I think I do, but I definitely will show that sometime. But you have to look really hard because it's a video camera, so it's someone's home camera that they took to this celebrity softball game, and they put it up on YouTube, and that's where I found it. So okay, here we go. First promo is Bret and Curt. Again, this is for house shows that they would be doing with Razor Ramon and, of course, Lex Luger, the narcissist Lex Luger.
Razor Ramon and Lex Luger, the narcissist, are going to tag up against the two greatest technical wrestlers that the World Wrestling Federation has ever seen. Mr. Perfect and the Hitman, the excellence of execution. Narcissist, the big mirror is not gonna save you. And Razor Ramon, you may be oozing machismo, but it's just not gonna help you when you step in the ring with the best.
The sign outside the building says World Wrestling Federation. That's what we represent. Wrestling. And narcissist Lex Luger, you're not beyond perfection. And Razor Ramon, you won't be oozing machismo. You'll be oozing something, and what you're oozing is gonna stick. We are the perfect team.
Oh, the excellent team. Oh, perfect.
Okay, so yes, they were the perfect team, and they also were the excellent team too. So yeah, I can't say enough about this. I really do like this one. so um, so just a few words about that one. Again, that was for the house show that they would be having. The a couple house shows there. One was in Madison Square Garden. The other one was in some downtown New York. Um, I don't remember. I'm sorry. I'll have to look. I do have those saved somewhere. Um, so this was a great promo, I think, with him and Brett. I just wish I could have seen a little bit more of Kurt in there. But I do like how he talks about, this is a wrestling thing. This is not um Kurt always found wrestling to be wrestling, not sports entertainment, whereas Vince thought it was sports entertainment. Oh, ha ha ha, it's entertainment. No, Kurt took this very, very seriously. I mean, this was his life, guys. He took wrestling seriously, and he took everything else seriously. So I think that the fact that he was a consummate professional. He was a consummate professional, and he treated wrestling as such. And that's why I kind of think in that promo, he's kind of saying, the sign outside says wrestling. It doesn't say entertainment. Um, and it kind of like contradicts everything that Vince thought of wrestling, which again, I just want to let everyone know this already be passed. We are actually going to talk more about the docu-series with Vince McMahon, and it will have already happened because this is October 16th that this is being recorded. But I will be on a show, another wrestling show. The gentleman contacted me through through my show in the chat room. His name is Nick, and he does a show with his lovely wife. And I will be calling in to talk about, I guess, whatever we're going to talk about that day. And hopefully you will join us. He would like me to be a regular call in, which is fine with me. I can definitely do that. Um, but that again, this will already be passed because by the time this comes out, it'll be like late November. So, we're already looking into, December by now. And the ho ho ho, Santa Claus and all the Yuletide greetings that you can bring, right? Um, but, yeah, so check me out on that. Again, always look for Pro Wrestling Talk, which is, 8 PM Eastern Standard Time with Angel Riviera, who is the host, and I am his co-host. So, we will definitely talk about more, the Vince McMahon thing. But again, with Kurt and Brett were like I said, it brought things out in Kurt that I think he wanted to get off his chest because in McMahon's cartoonish world, wrestling had become entertainment. It had become, silly and cartoonish. And there's people like Kurt who still, respect the business and wanted to keep it wrestling and um, keep it serious. There's no reason why you couldn't keep the wrestling in it. The entertainment stuff would happen, but I mean that's why you tell a good storyline and the rest would follow. But mostly keep the wrestling, in it and together. And it was a wrestling show, so why wouldn't you um, program it as such? So again, I just think that Kurt had a lot of respect for the business, and even Brett had a lot of respect for him. He had a lot of respect for Brett. So there's no reason why, other than Kurt was starting to see that it was becoming like a cartoon. It was becoming entertainment, and that's not really what you want. You want more of the wrestling in it. So eventually we would see the Attitude Era, which was scantily clad women and guys, fighting each other in the back. All kinds of weird things happen. The only good thing about the Attitude Era was Stone Cold versus Vince McMahon, which I think is why they actually beat WCW in their ratings um, at that time, because they had their NWO with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Just my opinion, of course. Um, but anyway, the next one is sort of the same thing. It's like a face off almost, but it's like a promo face off. They're talking to Kurt, and then Bret Hart just kind of walks into the scene, and they kind of shake hands, and Kurt doesn't look too happy in this promo. Maybe it's because like they told him he was going to be pushed and he didn't get pushed. um I'm not sure when this was exactly. It just says, promo on the narcissist. So, but he's definitely gonna go. Mean Gene is gonna go over some of the matches that are coming up. So, trying to think when The Undertaker took on Giant Gonzalez. Hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure. That might have been King of the Ring. I'm not sure. Might have been before then. Could have been WrestleMania for all I know. But anyway, let me get that going for you. Okay, everyone can see that.
In a return from WrestleMania 9 in the Garden on Saturday night, June the 12th, a gentleman who is joining me face-to-face right now, Mr. Perfect, you're going to be facing Lex Luger, the man with that very
Probably a house show.
controversial right elbow, and you know that all too well.
Do I ever? Let's go back to WrestleMania 9 when he hit me from behind and knocked me out cold. Well, Gene, this time in Madison Square Garden, I know what I'm up against. A metal plate in his arm, I have a defense for it.
You know, the only thing I could say...
Hi, Brett, like you walked
wait a minute,
in.
what is this?
Oh,
Bret
unexpected.
the Hitman Hart joining you. Is there a reason for this, Mr. Perfect?
Well, there certainly is. I'd say we both have something to do with Lex Luger, number one. And number two, I'd say we're the two greatest wrestlers that the World Wrestling Federation has ever produced.
Well, now, wait a minute. In the Garden on June 12th, Bret Hart is going to be facing another former World Wrestling Federation champion in Bob Backlund.
Bob Backlund, yeah.
You know, Gene,
So this was
when I look
before
at Mr. Perfect myself, you're looking at the two best technical wrestlers in the World Wrestling
And
Federation.
Bret Hart
But
kept
once a
fubbing
little
up.
ways back, there was a great wrestler, and his name was Bob Backlund. This is a guy that I've got nothing but respect for, and I really look forward to going in a match and not having to worry about a guy breaking the rules. Here's a guy, Bob Backlund. You don't have to worry about Bob Backlund coming in the ring with a steel plate in his arm, for example. But Curt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, I think he's going to dish out a beating to Lex Luger like he's never seen before. As far as Bob Backlund goes, I look forward to it. This is going to be a great scientific match.
Thank you, Bret Hart. I hope you don't get the impression you're going to have to help Backlund out of the rocking chair. He's not over the hill yet.
No, I don't think Brett said that. Okay, so a few quirks here. So what happened was um sorry, give me one second. So what happened there? I think Brett kept fubbing up there. Well, the first one was he couldn't say he wanted to say Mr. Perfect because I guess he was so used to Kurt being a heel, but Kurt was a baby face in '93. So excuse me. So one or two things there. Brett kept fubbing up the lines. um, but again, this was probably for a house show that they would have with Kurt would be against Lex Luger, and of course, Brett would be against Bob Backlund, which I think would have been a great matchup. I wish we could have seen those house shows, but I don't think anyone could sneak in a camera twice, right? Um, and the fact that Brett fubs up there and goes Kurt Hennig, and I'm like, oh. It's Mr. Perfect, Brett. No, Brett was also very serious. He took things very seriously, just as much as Kurt did, especially when it came to the wrestling. So I think that Brett was excited, and you saw there he just kind of walked right into the scene and like, whoa, Brett, where'd you come from? Like I was just hanging around, just want to walk into a certain promo. Um, it was a great promo, no doubt about it. Of course, they would have a rematch between Lex Luger and Curt Hennig, um, or Mr. Perfect, I should say. Of course, they were going to have that rematch there. Um, kudos to Brett. He got some time in there, but um, yeah, WrestleMania 9 for all intents and purposes. Again, we heard on last week, we had the ultimate rib segment 2, and we found out that Luger said that it was a botch. WrestleMania 9, that Kurt was very caffeinated up and completely forgot the match. It was an accident. It happens. How many times have we studied for a test in school, and we got all excited and we got the test, and then we blanked out, completely blanked out. A lot of people say that, oh, well, he ribbed him. I don't think so. Kurt, when it comes to wrestling, Kurt didn't rib you. Um, I mean, unless it was like something like Eric Bischoff. Like we learned that Tony Schiavone said that Kurt was messing with Eric Bischoff. Again, I just think that when it came to the wrestling, Kurt didn't rib people about wrestling. It was just kind of funny stuff that he would do outside of wrestling. But when he was in that ring, as he put it, he was all business. And that business was wrestling, which was his life. He's very passionate about it, and I just don't think he would fub up anything when it come to wrestling. Excuse me. Because that was his passion, that was his life and what he lived by. So when it comes to wrestling, I mean, I really don't think it was like a rib on Lex Luger. I think it was just a, "Oops, oh, no, I forgot. Can we go over it again?" But now we're already out in the ring, and now I mean, because like I said, if you remember the promo that we showed of Kurt before the match, he couldn't say the narcissist Lex Luger, he kept saying the Lexorcist, the Lexorcist. And if you hear him, he goes, "Luger, Luger," really loud, off camera. So I think he was kind of upset with himself that he couldn't say the narcissist. He kept saying the Lexorcist, which happens, when you're excited and you're caffeinated up, you're ready for the match or you're ready for the test, and then all of a sudden you get there and you blank out. I mean, it happens. I just don't think it was a rib, especially because, WrestleMania was pretty big for Kurt. Even if he wasn't in the main events, they still were like the biggest, box office hit of the year. So if you mess up at WrestleMania, Vince may not use you. So the fact that they were able to improvise so well, and if you watch that match, again, it's not something that looked, I mean, they didn't look like they were off kilter or that anyone forgot the match. Just that Kurt was kind of like, "Oh crap, I forgot." Oh, shook. Um it just seemed like he was just excited for WrestleMania, and that they were, live in Vegas, and um he was just ready to go out there and show how good or how bad of a heel, not bad, but like how good of a heel Luger could be. And Luger excelled at being a heel. What he didn't excel at is being a babyface. So um Kurt excelled both ways. So I think they should have kept Kurt a babyface longer. I think they should have given him a chance to reinvent that character as a babyface. They gave him a little less than a year, but who am I to judge, right? I only like worship the guy. Okay, so the next one is this is WrestleMania 9. Okay, so WrestleMania 9 promos again. Um Okay. So WrestleMania 9's promos, right before WrestleMania 9, again, it was Lex Luger and it was Curt Hennig or Mr. Perfect. We're not going to watch. No offense. I don't.
The man who believes he's beyond perfection. The man who believes that he's going to defeat Mr. Perfect at WrestleMania 9. Think about it here for a second. The man needs a mirror. He needs a reflection of himself to remind himself that sure, he has a great body. But what I really want to know, Luger, are you built for show or are you built for go? Because Mr. Perfect is always go 100%.
Good. Okay, so a good promo there. Definitely had that, I think it had that charisma. Curt always had that charisma that he could literally talk you into the building. Like you wanted to see him get get Lex Luger to be that heel, but then also he would make, Luger look good. And again, guys, I said that in this world or in wrestling, Curt took wrestling very seriously because it was his life. And the fact that he because he says a lot of these things because Luger was not in his league, okay? Luger had just come out of the bodybuilders, and he wasn't really wrestling at the time. I mean, he had a short stint in the WCW, but he was in the World Bodybuilding Federation or whatever it was called, and hadn't been wrestling for a couple years, I think, maybe a year. So again, it seemed like Luger, I mean, he may have been calling the match, but I mean, at WrestleMania 9, but it definitely seemed like Luger was rusty. If you watch that match, there's a lot of moves that Luger doesn't do. And I think Curt is trying to work around that. He's trying to push Luger to his, abilities. But again, I think Luger was just so ring rusty that it wasn't working. To me, it wasn't working. I watched that match several times, and I just think that, I mean, Curt, he was phenomenal. Okay, and yes, I'm a little biased, but I think Luger, because he had not been in wrestling for so long, just had, Curt had to kind of work around him, and it just Luger was a little taller, a little bigger in the body. Excuse me. And really what it comes down to is when I watch that match, I'm kind of like, oh, Curt's taking 90% of that match. Even though Curt forgot it, he still, I mean, he remembered, afterwards, he remembered most of it or a little bit of it. As, of course, Luger was calling spots. But I also think that, um, you know, as Luger put it, he never really called a match before. He always did what Ric Flair wanted to do or Sting wanted to do. And something Angel said last week, a lot of these guys didn't know how to they didn't know how to call a match or be like ring generals as they would put it today. Um and so it could have been Curt pushing Lex Luger to further his skills in the ring. And maybe because of Curt, Luger is or was better in the ring. I could call matches and stuff like that. So never looked a gift horse in the mouth, especially even if it was a oopsie. All right. So the next one we're going to do is it's a face-to-face with Lex Luger and Curt Hennig, Mr. Perfect. And I believe it's right after, I think it's like right after WrestleMania 9. It could be wrong about that, but here we go. It just says 93.
And joining us via a special television hookup this week, face to face, two men who are going to be meeting here on June 12th, the narcissist Lex Luger and Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect, I've got to say, Your opponent looks mighty good. That's a compliment, Lex Luger.
Well, he shines pretty good. He's got all the grease all over his body. I think he needs some clearer or something to fix that grease that they got all over your body. But other than that, I'll tell you what, Luger, I got to hand it to you. You're a crafty wrestler. You have all the assets to be great, but you're far from perfect.
Yeah, look at Lex Luger, of course, quick to point out that controversial right arm and elbow. Loaded. Really loaded.
Did you ever notice that a teleprompter, when you look into it, it's like the next best thing to an actual mirror? I mean, look at the way I look in this camera. It's absolutely incredible, Gina. It really is.
I'm sorry.
Are
I'm
you
too busy
kidding me?
looking.
No, I'm not kidding.
I was gonna say I'm too busy looking at Curt Hennig. No offense, Lex Luger, but no. Sorry, not sorry.
But Memorial Day is a very appropriate time for you, Mr. Perfect, to sign your burial plot of your career by facing me once again, the narcissist Lex Luger.
Thank you, gentlemen. I'm sorry we are all out of time. Lex Luger, a very high opinion of himself. His opponent is somebody he should have great respect for, too.
Exactly, because Curt was better than you, Luger. Okay, so that would be number 4. So that is the end of our promos this week. I don't like that one as much as I like the one he did with Lex Luger. I'm trying to think. He did another one, but I might have already done it. Where he goes, I did what I had to do, Luger, or something like that. Or I did what I had to do. And he was talking about, he had to beat Curt after the match with, hit him with the forearm. But he cheated because Curt's feet were in the rope. So again, this was a good promo. I like the other one because Curt's like, oh yeah, you look so good, but you can't do it. You can't perform in the ring like I can, that kind of thing. And Curt is right. Curt is absolutely correct on that. Oh man, I'm so sorry. Hiccups, worst time for him. Curt was absolutely right about that. That he, Luger was built for show, and again, Curt's skills tremendously outweigh Luger's. But again, this was the promo that was right before June 12th. So it actually was way after WrestleMania, which would have been in April. So yeah, this was probably for there's like right before they would have their house show. So right before they would have their house show, then of course they would go right into, their promos and stuff. So I liked it. I had to agree with Curt that, Luger just, he's built for show, not really for go. And like I said, I'm sure for Luger it was exciting because again, you're going to have a great match with Curt. If you listen to Luger and how he tells that story of WrestleMania 9, even though Curt forgot it, I still think that, Luger was very pompous about it. Like, oh yeah, you're going to have a great match and you have a night off with Curt. Well, okay. But you should want to also want to give Curt a great match too. And it just seemed like Luger he just wasn't for that, it just didn't, it seemed like something was lacking on Luger's part. And I feel bad for Curt, but I don't think, I know Curt never ever held a grudge against anybody. Not even like Ric Flair. I doubt he ever held a grudge against Hogan, even though Hogan axed his push in '89 and then axed the West Texas Rednecks later on. I just, Curt was not that kind of a guy to hold a grudge. He just wasn't that petty. He wasn't that judgmental. Even though that he had been wronged by Hogan, by Flair, several other wrestlers, I'm sure. He never held a grudge against those guys. He respected them. Okay, so we are actually going to start Nitro. They're going to talk a little bit about, how Scott Steiner turned on his own brother. Scott Steiner just turned on Rick Steiner at Super Bra. So what's going to happen is Lex Luger is going to come out and challenge Scott Steiner to a match, only to have Curt Hennig come out, of course, with Rick Rude. And what you're going to see happen here is literally, Luger's going to be like, "Where's Scott?" And Kurt's going to go, "You're facing me. You're going to wrestle only me. So get over it." I just think that this match is very short. Is the best way I can describe it. It's very short. So again, this may not be a very long show, guys. Because 4 promos and then a very short match doesn't make for a very long podcast, but we shall do our best. Okay. So, and that's why I'm kind of including everything in it. As you can see, like there's Tony Schiavone stuff. Ooh, it's going to turn on here. No, it's not. Okay. So here's Tony Schiavone. And of course, you have Larry Sabisco. And like today here, excuse me. So what you're going to have here is basically, like I said, they're going to talk about the fact that Scott Steiner had turned on Rick Steiner and he had gone to the NWO. When Scott Steiner comes out, they're kind of confused. They're like, "Wait, Scott Steiner dyed his hair?" Because his hair was like black, I think. But if it wasn't black, it was like brown, like brownish black. Oh, so, but anyway, okay, here we go. We're going to start. Oh, and for everyone who's listening to the audio, we're at WCW Monday Nitro, Season 4, Episode 8, February 23rd, 1998. I'm 4 minutes and 9 seconds in. Okay. And we're going to hit play now.
Rick Steiner's feelings. It wasn't too long ago we all thought the Steiners were back together with the problems, but obviously that is all dissipated right now.
Thought maybe DiBiase had things under control. Obviously, Scott Steiner just isn't man enough to be where the big boys play. You know, Abel never got a shot at revenge at Kane.
This ain't the Bible. This ain't church. Be quiet.
But we really can't let us take it too down because Mike Sting is the world heavyweight champion. Sting is the man who went in last night and won the world title, the vacated title, and that should pump it up because we got a great show.
You're right, Tony, and that balance of power shifts again to World Championship Wrestling as Sting wears the gold, emblematic of the most prestigious title in our sport.
It will go down as one of the biggest nights in pay-per-view television
Wasn't much
history.
for Sting.
We'll tell you how you can see the encore presentation tonight. We just heard the NWO music, and Lex Luger's got a microphone here.
I'm demanding something here right now. I got a couple things in my mind. First and foremost, congratulations to Sting for bringing back home.
Yeah, congratulations for nothing.
World title where it belongs.
Sting sucks.
But as usual, there's a stinking black cloud hanging over everything with the NWO. Now there's a best friend of mine in the back right now by the name of Rick Steiner who's devastated by what's happened last night.
Oh, poor baby.
I've traveled with him. I've ate with him. I've trained with him for 10 years.
You want a cookie?
Along with a guy by the name of Scotty Steiner who calls himself his brother.
No, he doesn't call himself his brother. He is his brother.
You're his brother, no more.
You have no
determination
over that.
Is if he can't be talked to, which obviously it's way beyond that point, maybe I can beat some sense into. So Scotty Steiner,
oh my!
If you're listening,
bring it on, Luger.
Bring you know what? Down to the ring right now.
But his butt.
Scott Steiner, Lex Luger,
we're all
representing
adults,
WCW, is going to take matters into his own hands.
Kick the New World Order while they're down.
Absolutely, go right at them. And you know, you say while they're down, and you think about what transpired with Savage last night, with Savage and Hollywood Hogan. But I know the NWO right now feels not only do they try to shake off those problems, but they feel that Scotty Steiner's quite a coup for him, and I would say that's true, Larry.
Well, I tell you, I think Scott Steiner missed the writing on the wall. He's standing over there.
He said, "Where's Scotty?"
You can certainly understand the emotional demand
You're
From
wrestling
Lex
me.
Luger,
You can
the
read
challenge
Kurt's
to
lips.
Scott
You're
Steiner.
wrestling me.
Tony, you can confirm it. Lex Luger, the Steiner brothers,
Very
have
close.
traveled the highways of the United States for the past several years representing World Championship Wrestling, and I think Lex Luger wanted the opportunity tonight to prove himself against Scott.
Well, in the course of wrestling, many wrestlers make very close acquaintances, friendships, bonds that had existed with Luger and not only Rick Steiner, but Scott Steiner as well. And so obviously you can see on a personal level what it's done to Lex Luger, and then obviously you saw what it's done to Rick Steiner when he wouldn't talk to Gene Okerlund. But it's going to be now.
Oh, no thanks.
Hennig, he went to the rib cage with a knee. Luger sends him in and pulls him into the corner.
Well, Hennig ran for cover.
And of course,
okay?
as we've seen over the course of the past few weeks, wherever we see Curt Hennig, Rick Rude is soon to be close by.
Grab him.
Luger on the offense, what he's got to do. Here's a hook. No, Hennig blocked it.
He took too long.
Here comes
Hennig's
Scott
using the
Steiner.
ropes.
He
Hey,
sure did.
hey,
Who is this?
that's Scott Steiner. Look at his head.
That's Scott Steiner.
That's Scott Steiner.
Take your glasses off, genius. He gets injured. Watch this. He gets injured here with the glasses.
Like that.
No, you're right. I mean,
That's Scott Steiner.
that is Scott.
Not a good idea. You just got injured by your glasses, dude.
Wayne washed him.
Those are
Steiner's
his
like, here, I
arms,
just
but-
got injured with these.
So Scott Steiner, characteristic of the NWO, with a sneak attack from behind.
Now look,
Can
Scott
you
Steiner.
believe
Look
it?
at Scott Steiner's face.
This is mind-boggling.
He got injured by his own glasses because he wasn't paying
him-
attention,
To see him out
and he
here.
didn't take
Well,
them
it
off
is just the
either.
kind of debut that we would expect from a New World Order member.
From behind.
Yes, the attack from behind on Lex Luger, and now refusing to break.
Trying to choke Luger down, pounding Luger on the back, and Steiner looks out towards the fans to a chorus of boos.
Well, Luger had enough to do with Curt Hennig keeping his eye on Rick Rude. Scott Steiner came out of nowhere.
Look at that.
So they didn't even know it was Scott Steiner because he changed his hair color. Like, that's Scott Steiner?
Luger sent him down with a lariat. Oh, the big forearm shot. This is not even a matchup. And then it was supposed to be Hennig.
Wait a minute.
The bagwell has come out. And the NWO starting from the opening, trying to take apart Lex Luger.
And they're pretty successful at it.
Well, there goes Rick Steiner.
The dog-faced gremlin has hit the ring.
Hit him.
Down goes Bagwell.
Hit him up.
Here it is, face-to-face confrontation.
And here comes the rest of the NWO.
Double axe handle.
They're all
Here they
coming.
come.
They're all coming.
Here they come. Luger and Steiner cannot defend against this. Look at this. They are holding
Kurt's
Rick
back
Steiner
out.
for his blood brother. Oh, and he kicks him in the gut.
I never expected to see something like this. Whoa!
And of course, Sting.
Sting.
It's the world champion from the top of the Arco Arena. Now they're going to scatter. Oh, what a way to begin this program.
Yeah, what a way to begin. Okay, so yeah, that was good. I thought it was really good there, even though it was like a a minute match. Poor Curt. I can't believe he had to go through with that, you know. They should have at least let him, you know, they should have let him have like a full match instead of like a minute. Like a whole freaking minute, and then oh, okay, it's done now. I'm just seeing if oh, okay. So we have a little more here. We're gonna watch Bryan Adams now. Because Curt will come out. Remember, they started a feud now with Curt and Brett again in WCW in '98. Of course, it would be Brett and Curt at I'm sorry. It would be Curt and Brett at Uncensored. So here we go again. So Bryan Adams came out 2 weeks ago and had was it 2 weeks ago? Maybe it was 3 weeks ago. So 3 weeks ago, Bryan Adams came out and held Bret's hand, and so the NWO came out and attacked Bret Hart, and then of course Bryan Adams would become NWO himself. So saving grace here, we get to see a little bit more of Curt Hennig because again he comes out. We're gonna hear Bryan Adams, and then we're going to Bret's going to come out and he's going to talk back to Bryan Adams, and of course Curt and Rick Rude will also come out. So here we go. So saving grace there. This actually will be a little bit longer because again that was like a minute match. So okay, here we go.
To quack about. Bring you out as long as we had the ample opportunity here on Nitro. First of all, I don't know what you're doing with the New World Order. That's number one. And number two, what in the world has Bret Hart ever done to you?
First of all, you stinking amoeba, shut up before I smack you. Let me ask the questions. And that goes for each and every one of you out there. You're so pro WCW, you make me sick. Why don't you call it like it is, Jack?
Don't touch me, I've got a...
I said shut up before I smack you. Don't think I won't. Mean Gene. Listen up. I'm out here tonight because the question around the wrestling world today is what exactly are you doing here, Bryan Adams? I'm here to join the most elite force in professional wrestling, which is the NWO. Some of you wrestlers may think different, and you may fool some other people. And if you try real hard, you may even fool yourselves. But you know deep down inside, the NWO is the measuring stick. Now, to address the question about Bret the Hitman Hart, who is probably sitting in his igloo in Calgary right now watching because he's too stinking yellow to come on down here. So let me address you, Hitman. Get this camera on me. Hitman, if I wanted a piece of you, let me tell you what would happen. No, better yet, let me tell you what wouldn't happen. First of all, I wouldn't break a sweat. Second of all, I definitely wouldn't go off my feet because you're just... You don't need to get me from behind because you can do it face to face right here, right now.
All right, I think he's calling your bluff, Adams.
They can't do anything face to face. The NWO can't, and Bret.
What do you think that was? I didn't see him back up.
Big Bryan Adams.
Well, he called him out. He wanted him.
Whoa, inverted atomic drop out of the corner by Adams.
This Adams is one huge man. Look at the size of him.
How about this?
Tilt-a-whirl I can't say it.
Backbreaker by Adams.
Yeah, tilt-a-whirl backbreaker.
Tilt-a-whirl is what it was. What a big man. What a gigantic man. He hits the ropes. Elbow missed. Bret Hart rises back up. How about this?
Well, if you can't see it, he can't hit you.
Like a hockey game in Calgary.
Hardy, hard.
Pound away.
Well, we've gone to Nitro and a hockey game broke out. He's got a minute.
Sharpshooter applied.
Well, I think he just broke a sweat, and as you can see, he's off his feet.
Well, he wanted Bret Hitman Hart, and he got him. There's Curt Hennig.
Hey, Curt.
Oh, my. Well, one of the unfortunate things about that sharpshooter is you're stuck as well. Nowhere for him to go. And
Hey, there's Rick Rude, too.
Now, wherever you see Hennig, you see Rude.
And now look at Bret Hart. Bret Hart taking on everyone. Hart, Hennig, pounding away. Rude comes in.
Just a fist fight between the two.
Oh, now the numbers just too great now for Bret Hart. Storming away. Oh, Ric Flair. Ric Flair's come out of the dressing room. Chops Hennig back to the corner. Flair, Hart together. As we saw on Nitro a week ago, tradition rises to the occasion once again.
And they're standing in the ring, slapping high fives.
Bret the Hitman Hart and the Nature Boy, Ric Flair.
Oh, what a great moment in Nitro. What a great moment for WCW. What a big
Get him,
weekend
Curt.
for our company.
Get him.
Did you ever think you see that? Flair and Hart exchanging
Yes.
high fives? Never.
Even though
Well, when
Hart
you're
said
talking
Flair
about
was a
WCW
piece of
and
crap.
the NWO, you can see just about anything.
Expect the unexpected.
Yeah, they walk out slowly. A little communication going on here. I don't know if they're plotting something else or not. But Ric Flair and Bret Hart have come to the ring together as a unit. Hennig, Adams, Rude take the low road.
All right, I think we can stop now because they're just gonna have a little thing. Okay, let's.
It's Scott Hall.
It's Scott Hall.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you?
Take it like a man, Sting.
Yeah, take it like a man, Sting, you piece of
Steiner
crap.
and Hennig roll him in. Scott Hall came out.
Oh, look at this. They're going to take him apart.
Of course,
That's what they're going to do.
that's what the NWO
Well,
did.
I've not seen a referee, nor have I seen any semblance of a match started here.
Be careful,
But the
Curt.
purpose, there's the follow-away slide. The purpose here has not been to win a title, I don't think. It's to dismantle
That's
the
why he
world
doesn't have the
champion.
belt with him.
Sure, they're trying to injure. They're trying to hurt Sting. No question about it.
I don't care how tough that man is. There's nothing he can do with 10 guys in that ring.
Here comes the edge.
Razor's Edge.
Sting is out. And Scott Hall came into the ring with the Sting mask on, and they have spray paint, guys. A little payback, more than a little payback for what went down last night. Into the ring.
Savage!
Comes Randy Savage.
The most dangerous wrestler in the sport today.
And Savage being viciously pounded on by all members of the NWO.
That
But
wasn't
look at him
smart,
fight.
Savage.
Well, it shows you how crazy he is. Who would come into the ring with 10 guys, members of the NWO, and attack him single-handedly? Only Savage.
Meanwhile, Scott Hall choking Sting on the other side. Savage is being held back by the NWO members. The New World Order, in the wake of what happened last night, is in control once again. And now Hogan holds out his belt as they hold Savage.
Hey, it's Beefcake.
Who is this in the ring?
It's Beefcake.
Did you
Brutus
know that there's a new
Beefcake.
face in the ring?
I didn't even.
With
It
the
didn't look
NWO,
like
we
him.
got
I did not know that was
glimpse
him
of but
till they
Savage
actually
being
said he was
smacked
several
around,
years
being
later.
beaten here by members of his group, members of the NWO. Sting still being choked. And now the spray paint. The NWO continues and goes back to their disgusting ways. Savage being held out, a spray painting going on here.
Kurt holding Savage's face.
Something's coming. Something's coming.
Something is coming, and they're scattering like bugs. It's Luger.
Steel chair in hand. NWO bails out en masse.
Once again, he comes out to save Sting, or was it
Yeah, this
Sting and the Macho Man?
that other
Who did
guy
he
is
come out to
Beefcake.
save?
Well, that's the question, fans. We are out of time on a Wild Nitro. We'll see you Thursday live on TBS and Thunder.
Okay. A great show there. Like I said, you got to see Kurt several times. So I'm just going to say a few things about this Nitro and we'll wrap up. So this Nitro was pretty good. I thought, you got to see Kurt like 3 times. Of course, it was with the NWO. Because his match literally was like what, a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes. So it wasn't really fair that Kurt, he only wrestled for like 2 minutes against Lex Luger. And then, of course, you had Scott Steiner come out there. So I'm glad that he actually came out. Again, they're going to start the feud with Bret Hart, and we will watch Uncensored, which is Bret Hart versus Curt Hennig with, of course, Rick Rude at ringside. Which I think was a great match. There was maybe 1-2 botches, if that. I know Kurt kind of gets a little frustrated because I think he kind of botched something. But hey, it happens. You know, you're doing a live thing, and sometimes not everything goes as you want. But I still think it was a great match between two professionals, Bret Hart and Curt Hennig. And I think, it was just as good as their 89 matches that they had. So, but I if you wanted to know who that was in the NWO gear, that was Beefcake, Brutus Beefcake, who would come to be the acolyte, and be like Hogan's. I mean, because he was Hogan's best friend in real life. So, excuse me. So, I mean, it just seemed fitting. I didn't even know that was Beefcake until someone said much later, "Oh, that was Brutus Beefcake." I'm like, wait, what? Are you for sure? Are you for real? It doesn't look like Beefcake, does it? No, it doesn't. But he will be, of course, the acolyte, excuse me, and he will be the NWO Hogan person to help Hulk Hogan in all his endeavors. So, um, but I think the match, nonetheless, between him and Luger, even though it was very short, was still very. I mean, it was what it was, and there's really not much you can say about that. Um, so, just to wrap up, I hope you enjoyed this little episode. I'm sorry that it's actually longer than I thought it was going to be, but because the match was only like 1 or 2 minutes, of course, because the Scott Hall thing, or the Scott Steiner thing, with Rick Steiner. So, of course, and then Luger calls him out. But we actually got to see Kurt come back out with the NWO. And then, of course, you also had him come out when it was Brian Adams and Bret Hart. So again, we will watch Thunder. I'm not sure if he has a match. If he doesn't, we could always watch another match to kind of make it longer. I know he does a promo, and it's kind of like the '93 promo where he's like, my dad's better than your dad, that kind of thing. Um, that's what they did back in like '93 when Kurt was a babyface. Of course, he was a babyface and Bret was a babyface, and now Kurt's a heel and Bret's a babyface. So, and of course, Bret Hart would not become a heel until my birthday, like the 19th and the 20th of April. That's when, that's when Bret becomes a heel and goes with Hogan. So, again, I hope you enjoyed this week. We definitely will be back next week. Again, I think there is I think Thunder it has him in a profile or something. I'm not sure. But anyway, we will be back again next week. And now everyone is going to hear shameless plugs. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week. And remember, everybody, nobody beats Mr. Perfect. Nobody. Okay, guys, this is where we're going to do some shameless plugs here. So the first shameless plug, if you could please go over to my other show, which is Black Magic Talk. I will put the links in all the description fields. If you could just kind of browse it, if you are not only a wrestling fan, but you like Wicca or paganism, and you'd like to learn more about it. We just did some recent episodes. So if you'd like to hop over there, just click the link in the description field. If you would like to give to the Black Magic Talk Patreon, that link will be in the description field. And again, if you would like to have a tarot reading on the show, you can DM me on X. My link for that X will be in the description field. If you would like to do one off the show, you can also just DM me and I will give you my rate. My co-host is Matt Collins. He can also give you a tarot reading on the show or off the show. If it's on the show, all you would have to do is become a Patreon supporter for $5 a month. You get all kinds of perks. And again, we can let you know when you can come on the show. And if you'd like to do it off the show, Matt can definitely give you his rating for doing tarot. The next shameless plug I would like to do is, of course, Pro Wrestling Talk will always be on Saturday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It is scheduled to change, but Angel and I will let you know on the Wrestling X. So if you would like to DM us at any time, me and Angel, my link will be in the description field for my Wrestling X, and that is for Pro Wrestling Talk, and also for this podcast, Curt Hennig Was the Best, Changed My Mind. If you would like to give to the Patreon, I have for Curt Hennig Was the Best, Changed My Mind. Again, you can go and look in the description field. It should be there. I have $1, $3, $5, and $10. The other show is just $1, $5, and $10. Or no, I'm sorry, it's $3, $5, and $10. I think. I'm not sure. I'd have to double check. But if you could give, thank you in advance. If you'd like to ask any questions for pro wrestling or Black Magic Talk, you are free to direct message me on X, or Angel, my host for Pro Wrestling Talk. Again, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Saturday, unless it is scheduled to change, but we will definitely let you know beforehand. So, of course, this show, I'm going to do a shameless plug for this show. Again, $1, $3, $5, and $10 you can contribute on Patreon. If you would like to give on Cashapp, I will take donations on Cashapp, but direct message me on X if you would like to do that, and I will give you my handle. So if you have any questions like about the show or any technical questions, you can always direct message me on my X, and I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. The next shameless plug I would like to do is for Hardlands Media. Kit Cabello, someone I call a good friend of mine. Please check him out. He is Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Central, and that would be 10 p.m. Eastern. So 9 a.m. Central, he is Monday through Friday, sometimes Saturday, depending on when you can catch him in a good mood for a Saturday brunch. If he does do Saturday brunch, I usually am sleeping or at work, so... but check him out. He's really good on politics, and I have the pleasure of calling him friend. Some more shameless plugs. If you could also subscribe to Angel in the Afternoon. He does a great job on politics as well. And that's Angel in the Afternoon. And he's usually on 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Friday. That is also scheduled to change. If you have any questions about it, he'll usually let you know. And he will definitely, you can direct message him if you need to get a hold of him. The last one is Deconstructing. His name is Dave. I really recommend him too. He has a little podcast on YouTube. All you'd have to look up is Deconstructing Topics, and he does some really good stuff. I really recommend you guys check him out. Subscribe to everybody I just said here, and check them out. And remember, everyone, nobody beats Mr. Perfect. Nobody. Hey, Curt Hennig fans, just want to let you know that the ending outro song is AI generated. Again, it is AI generated. Thank you all for listening. And remember, everyone, no one beats Mr. Perfect. Nobody.
He walked into the ring, a legend set to soar. In the flashing lights you could hear the crowd roar. With a twinkle in his eye, a swagger in his stride, Curt Hennig, he was more than a star in their eyes. From the farms of Minnesota to the wrestling hall, he stood undefeated through it all. A father, a friend, a hero we'd see, perfect in the memories for you and me. He was Mr. Perfect, never missing a beat. With every match, he'd rise to his feet. Though he's gone now, a hero we'd see, perfect in memories for you and me. In the quiet of the evening, stars shining bright, you'd hear tales of his glory, longing to the night. With a grip like a vice and a smile that gleamed, he lived every moment like out of a dream. His days in the sun and the nights in the cold, the stories of Curt never grow old. Remember the laughter, battles hard fought, perfectly missed but never forgot. He was Mr. Perfect, never missing a beat. With every match, he rose to his feet. Though he's gone now, a hero we see, perfect in memories for you and me. He was Mr. Perfect, never missing a beat. With every match, he rose to his feet. Though he's gone now, his legend's still strong.